People. Good evening. Can we have an indication from those in the internet world on our audio? Will someone send a message to the town clerk via Facebook Messenger to indicate whether the audio is working? Okay, please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Here.
Councilman Secreto, Councilman Kitchen, Councilwoman Hayner, Supervisor Quigley.
Here. Thank you very much, and welcome to the Town of Ulster Town Board meeting for Thursday, April 21st, 2022. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda? The supervisor has two that came out of the Police Commission meeting this afternoon. They are the presentation of two new policies for the police department that will be authorized to be published on the town's website for public review and then voted on at a future meeting. Any public discussion on agenda items? Are there any individuals here tonight who wish to make any comments on the scheduled agenda? Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the approval of minutes for the workshop meeting of March 4th, 2022, and the town board meeting of March 18th, 2022. Is there any discussion on the minutes as presented? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Communications?
The town board received a letter on April 11th, 2022 from town residents Michael and Anna Parks of Fawn Hill Court regarding the drainage system in Bright Acres, especially after the heavy rainfall April 7th and 8th, and asking the town to study the drainage system. This letter also refers to property at 91 Fawn Hill Court being recently purchased to provide a driveway to another piece of property. One of these issues is a planning board issue, and I would like to let everyone know that the entire letter tonight will be posted on the town website along with tonight's meeting documents.
The town board has discussed this with the highway superintendent, who has agreed that he will be taking the town engineer, Dennis Larios, to the subject site in the next couple of weeks to review the matter. Any additional communications? Thank you. Abstract of claims, Mr. Van Cleek?
We had the great opportunity of reviewing the abstract of claims the other day. We had $618,455.57 in prepaid bills. We had $507,245.96 in abstract bills, escrow of $5,142.50 for a total of $1,130,844.03, and all was correct.
So you're going to say that I spent a lot of money last night?
Yeah, you signed a lot of vouchers.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
Yeah.
May I have a motion to accept the abstract as presented? I have a second. Any discussion on the abstract? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Please sign the abstract to authorize the payment of bills. Moving on to new business, the first item on tonight's agenda is a presentation and acceptance of the town clerk's monthly report for the month of March 2022. The agenda says 21.
Make a motion, we accept it.
Can I ask for, is there anything that we should note from the town clerk in the report?
Nothing notable this month.
Thank you. I have a motion to accept the report as presented. I have a motion for Mr. Van Cleek. I have a second for Mr. Secreto. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The next three items are personnel.
I'll take them. This comes from a request from myself for the Recreation Department, be a seasonal worker. His name will be Michael Sills. Title, seasonal park attendant, comes out of the Park and Rec, comes out of the general fund. This is seasonal, non-competitive, no union. There's no health insurance involved here. His wage will be $15 an hour. Start date is 5/01/2022. And this happens every year. We hire extra people to work down at Post Park and Ryder Park. I need a motion to hire Mike Sills for Park.
I'll make the motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right. This employee, a seasonal laborer, comes at the request of Superintendent of Water, John Rose. Employee's name is Christopher Ibbotson. Title is seasonal laborer, comes out of the Water Department, comes out of the Water Fund. Seasonal, non-competitive, no union, no health benefits. His wage will be $15.25. His start date will be 5/31/2022. And that comes at the request of John Rose. I make a motion to hire Christopher Ibbotson for that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And the final one comes requested by department heads, our town clerk Suzanne Reevy. This is for employee's name will be Crystal Boyce, title Deputy Town Clerk. Department is town clerk, comes out of the general fund. This is a full-time position, non-competitive, non-union. This is a buyout on the health insurance. Wage is $17 an hour. Start date 4/25/2022. And it does come out from a request from Suzanne Reevy, our town clerk. And I make a motion to hire Crystal Boyce.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item on our scheduled agenda is a motion to authorize an exception to the town of Ulster's procurement policy for an emergency purchase of a 2022 Dodge Durango for the police department from Bagnell Motors, not to exceed the purchase price of $40,000. At the last meeting, we advised the community that in October of last year, we had 2 new police vehicles placed on order for an expected delivery of April 2022. As of the last meeting, we were informed the vehicles had not been scheduled by the manufacturer for production. And in fact, it was quite possible that the 10,000 other vehicles that was with it for the police and EMS services throughout the country would not be built this year. We were informed shortly after the close of the meeting 2 weeks ago that Bagnell had received an additional 6 vehicles or had 6 vehicles coming on their lot. The chief and I discussed it, and given the uncertainty of the delivery of the second vehicle that is required to maintain our fleet, we agreed to make a recommendation to the town board to purchase a second vehicle. So tonight I'm asking for a motion, as stated, to authorize the purchase of a second vehicle. Any discussion on the matter? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Secreto on the next matter.
This is something I brought before the board a couple months ago of a non-smoking policy on town properties. Last year, we had quite a few complaints coming from the park, from Post Park, from a lot of people down there since the new marijuana law went into effect. We had a lot of seniors sitting down here looking at the water, enjoying themselves, but then there would be people smoking pot next to them. So I thought with our summer camp coming up, I thought it would be right that I would bring this before the board, that we adopt a policy of no smoking on any town property, which includes the highway department, water department, and that. Be up to department heads to enforce it. But, and also, even here, when we have court day outside here, there is a little section where people can go off and smoke, never use it. Cigarette butts were all over the parking lot. It's just something that bothered me for years. I brought attention to the board. And it seemed like it was a good thing to do, and I leave it up to the rest of the board to discuss the fact for the no smoking on any town property.
So tonight, we are making a presentation to the community of local law number blank of 2022 for the town of Ulster, County of Ulster, a local law prohibiting smoking on town-owned property entitled No Smoking on Town Property. The town clerk is directed to post said law on the town's website for public dissemination. At the next meeting, we will come back and we will schedule a public hearing for 2 weeks. After that meeting, we will conduct the public hearing, take public comment, and that at some point upon conclusion of the receipt of comments, both at the public hearing and in written form, we will then take a vote on the matter, or we will modify the matter as indicated by the comments that we want to implement. So there is no action the board needs to take tonight. The next item on our agenda comes to the town board as the approving agency. It is a resolution from the planning board declaring the town of Ulster to be designated as lead agency under SACR and refer the project known as the Quality Inn Rupco Rehabilitation at 114 Route 28, Section Blockland Lot 48.14-1-24 and 27 to the Ulster County Planning Board. Seeker review will include both the rehabilitation of the existing facility and the construction of the new interconnect for water and sewer to the Cherry Hill Water District and the Washington Avenue Sewer District. So may I have a motion accepting the resolution as presented? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Please proceed with the seeker process. Under old business, we have here a request for a motion to award bids for cold planing road services for 2022. I will ask the highway superintendent to make an explanation. Very good. May I have a motion to accept the motion to award bids for the cold planing road services for 2022 to Callahan Industries? Any discussion on the matter? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a presentation of a resolution reapproving the granting of an extension for Al Riazi, DBA AJR Masonry, 2372-2468 US Route 9W, Saugerties, New York, XBL 39.12-1-26. Before I call for a motion to accept the resolution, Mr. Tutt, can you explain what has occurred here, please? Very good. Thank you.
Make
Some-
that motion.
I have a motion from Councilman Van Cleek. Do I have a second? Councilman Secreto. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, that can, I have
Two
two
things.
last items. That's right.
They were yours. too.
They were mine. That's right. But I also had the pool tonight, so.
Yeah, we've got 3 minutes to go.
Periodically, the Town of Ulster Police Department goes through a re-accreditation process with New York State. And during this process, an evaluation is made of the Ulster Police Department's General Operations Manual. And due to changes from time to time, we are required to update the General Operations Manual. Since the town conducted a process to evaluate the police department under executive order from the governor, the town board has adopted a general policy to introduce for public review all changes to the police department's operations manual. Out of this afternoon's police commission meeting, 2 new policies were presented. One is called a wellness program policy, and the second is a modification of the personal complaints and internal affairs policy. These 2 policies, I am requesting that the town clerk post on our town's website for the community to look at. And we will take these under consideration at the next meeting for approval. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the scheduled agenda for tonight. I am more than happy to open the floor for general comments to anyone here tonight who wishes to make a comment to the town board. I would ask that those on Zoom who wish to comment, please allow those here present to go first, and then signal to the town clerk by either raising your hand on Zoom or holding a thumbs up, and we will call on you at that point. So first off, Mr. Berardi.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Berardi. I'm a taxpayer. I live on Ulster Landing Road. I have some questions for the town board in regards to a property which is located across the street from the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency, directly across the street from Rob Sweeney's historic home. Now, I did some preliminary research onto it. It appears that it had initially been presented to the planning board back in 2019. And there are a lot of meetings and I did my best to follow it. And it appears it had received site plan approval. I could be wrong. Site plan approval with conditions, but, and I don't know if this is the normal procedure of the planning board, to come back and to talk about the conditions, or to report that they've been met. Apparently, I also saw something that it had been referred to the town board for a special permit, I believe. I could be wrong. What had brought my attention to it was the construction of 2 baby barns on the south end of the property. It's actually kind of like 1.5, quite unsightly. And I didn't know if there was a building permit or if in the site plan, because when you go onto your website, you don't see the site plan, or at least I didn't locate it. If in the site plan, it called for the construction of a 1.5 or 2 baby barns put together rather haphazardly, without the outside sheathing. There's also in back of the baby barns, there's also an accumulation of lumber, which is clearly not related to, at least to my estimation, it's clearly not related to the project. According to the site plan approval, it asked it to be a construction yard. I don't know. Number one, I'd like to ask the town board if there's been a building permit applied for, if there's been a certificate of occupancy, which would allow the occupant to run a business. There's a fence up that is doesn't appear to be secured. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things going on there. And the last question, which I found odd, was the firm that put in the site plan application is different from the property owner. So if there's a capital project going on applied for by a party who is not the property owner, it's a bit odd. So there were a lot of things that I just could not follow. And I had wanted to ask the town board to clarify that for me. I mean, in short, it just doesn't look good.
Thank you, Mr. Berardi. I will ask Mr. Tutt to review the site plan for compliance and report back to the town board at the next town board meeting in response to your questions. Huh? What can you respond to? People on the internet can't hear you, Warren. That's correct.
So he did go to the planning board. He did receive site plan approval. Size of the building warranted special permit from the town board, which was also granted. The individual, we run into the same problem we ran into with Mr. Riatz. The 2 buildings that he built, are small enough that they do not require a building permit, but they're not on the site plan. Okay, so I'll take full responsibility in the fact that I see it going on and I'm trying to get to it. Okay, the fence. So basically, he didn't pull a building permit for anything. He didn't pull a fence permit. He has an approved site plan,
Which is
But-
probably expired now.
which is probably expired by now, and he's not following the site plan. As to the individual, the owner versus the applicant, that I'll have to find out, because he may have changed his business from what
Okay.
originally was
I
gonna be.
looked at parcel finder and I found someone different than the name of the applicant, which I thought was odd.
Yeah, I don't know if he was running under a business name. And he had to, as far as the applicant being, the owner being was a business owner that owned the property.
That might be it. Maybe the property owner is a principal in the construction company.
Or the property's owned by a construction company or an LLC, and he applied as the principal in that company. So there would be a discrepancy there. Now, if it's a discrepancy in that it's privately held piece of parcel and someone else did that, then that would also lead to voiding it out.
We'll get to the bottom of this and get back to you.
Okay.
Any additional public comment here on any matter? Ms. Parks?
Good evening. It's Anna Parks, 95 Fawn Hill Court, Town of Worcester. So I'm here because today we actually had a little cleanup, neighborhood cleanup in Bright Acres area. We ended up going all the way to Forest Hill and City View Terrace. If you look up that high on the cliff, there's Broadway Inn, and all the trash coming to the City View Terrace and Forest Hill comes from the cliff. They have Broadway Inn has a big dumpster on the edge of the cliff. So when there's animals or people throwing trash in there, that trash gets spilled and it comes down the cliff to the streets. I have contacted before building inspector regarding that matter. Mr. Bruno came with me over there to Skytop, and the dumpster was overflowing. Trash was all over the ground. Building inspector spoke to the owner and told him he needs to have garbage picked up at least twice a week. Once a week wasn't good enough. Now, he also asked him to clean up the trash, and he also asked him to clean up the falling off billboard above the ski shop. The big sign that was falling off the cliff was removed by the owner of the property, Broadway Inn, but the trash never got picked up. So as neighbors, we finally got tired of looking at it, and we got together as a neighborhood and we cleaned it up. We want to say thank you to Highway Department with the assistance, providing us with the trash bags, and they're gonna come and collect all the trash later on. Now, also another thing is the people who are reside, I guess that's the residents for them, Broadway Inn and the Motel 19. They continue walking on Highway 28, but now they're pushing a lot of times shopping carts. So now you see people with shopping carts on Highway 28 walking, crossing several ramps for 209, which is dangerous for them and is dangerous for the driver. I mean, you go on 28, 45 miles an hour, you're trying to go to the ramp, and there it is, the person with a shopping cart. I don't know what can be done about it, but that is not safe for them. It's not safe for the drivers.
Thank you. I don't know what can be done either. We brought this issue up with DSS. We had a conference call with DSS, the town police department, the town building department, and the county executive's office. You yourself have spoken to Legislator Cahill about the matter. Until DSS stops putting clients in that facility, there's nothing that is going to change unless the owner of the hotel sells the property for another use.
Okay, so one more thing. Rapco is trying to put in Broadway Inn low-income housing. How are they gonna make the people commute on Highway 28? There's a traffic circle. I have seen people pushing shopping carts through the
There was a
traffic circle.
presentation at the town planning board meeting on Wednesday night.
Okay,
There will be a public hearing for Rupco, and there will be another planning board meeting. So please, if you need answers to those questions, please come back and answer those. There is a 7-question list that has been presented, one of which revolves around transportation, one of which revolves around pedestrian.
okay. So what about the trash falling off the cliff from Broadway Inn? What can
Um,
we do about it?
Have the building department, I'm gonna have to have the building department go see him.
Okay, they went once, Mr.
Mr. Bruno has had a triple bypass heart operation. He's not at work. Right now, we are working in the building department with one employee. I will send him as soon as
just-
we can.
At this time, we have more animals. Bears are out. The trash are gonna get only worse. We cleaned up. We like to keep it clean. And we put a lot of effort into making it nice, and we want to maintain it that way. That's
Thank
all
you.
what we are asking for. Another thing about the drainage situation, when you have the engineer coming over to evaluate, I would like to be notified.
We will notify you.
Thank you so much.
Are there any other individuals? Yes, ma'am.
Nancy Abel. I live on DeWitt Lake Road in the town of Ulster. It's a related issue to what the previous speaker brought up. The trash that is all along Creek Locks Road primarily. A year ago, the Town of Ulster Democratic Committee did an extensive cleanup on Creek Locks Road. And now it is as bad, if not worse than it was a year ago. We're talking furniture, paint cans, tires, of course, beer cans and beer bottles and televisions. And I don't know what the town can do, but it's very frustrating for those of us who live there.
Is the garbage on a property
It's all along the road.
along the right of way? Creek
Yeah.
Locks Road is a county road.
Yeah,
So my suggestion is you start with the county legislature.
okay,
I believe Mr. Cahill is the representative for that location,
okay.
and he can coordinate with the county highway department.
To see about getting it. That
Yes.
would be wonderful. And my other issue is the other eyesore in the neighborhood, which is the old junkyard. Of course, Mr. McKenzie is making more moves to clean it up and he's been using it for storage of vehicles and things. Is there any,
He's delinquent in his taxes, and I believe he's waiting for the county to take it.
okay, do you have any idea how long that takes?
It's a 3-year process for non-payment of taxes. He has to miss tax payments for 3 years.
Mhm.
I think if you saw the Kingston Freeman today, you will have noticed that there's an article in there today about a property in the town of Ulster that hasn't paid their taxes for 10 years. The county's finally getting around to foreclosing on it.
Okay.
Okay. I can't
There
make
you
any representations,
Mhm.
but we will follow up with the county on that parcel.
Mhm.
We have done everything at our level,
Mhm.
including beating him in Supreme Court and getting judgments against him to shut him down.
Thank you for that.
But beyond that, I'm not certain I know what we can do.
Okay, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Mr. Metzger.
Good evening. I was wondering, what are the motor coaches doing in the south parking lot of the IBM property? I guess it's now owned by the county, but there are very suspicious motor coaches there with out-of-state plates. I'm wondering if we're not running a midnight taxi service from the airport to around the county. Huh?
Mr. Metzger, I will call the county tomorrow and ask that question, and then I will call you personally.
Okay, thank you very much.
Chief Berardi.
I spoke to the current property manager. Was with Tech City, is now currently with the new owners. That space was leased to the motor coach company. With the previous, with Mr. Ginsburg. They're in the process of trying to get them out of there now.
Thank you very much.
Very suspicious. No, I see them every morning.
Are there any individuals in the internet world who wish to make a comment for tonight's meeting? Seeing that we are completed with public comment, I have a motion to close the meeting. Do I have a second? I have a second from Councilwoman Hayner. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much for coming out tonight. We will see you at